So I just got done watching the live stream for patch version 1.2, or if you haven't checked it out yet, please make sure to do so. I'll put a link down in the description so you can check it out yourself. But it seems like one of the first characters that we're having is Albedo. So he's a Geo character, Geo element, sword user. Per the live stream, they were talking about how his elemental skill is a flower platform that he sets on the ground, and every time you damage an enemy within that radius, it's going to trigger elemental geo damage on them. So you could also stand on the platform and it acts as an elevator, bringing you up. But the interesting thing that I noticed about this character showcase that it doesn't look, or they don't mention anything about that this is a geo character's skill that blocks damage. Most of the Geo characters, we know they can create crystals and everything, and they can block damage with their E skill, but surprisingly, Albedo, he does not use his elemental skill to block damage. Taking a look at his elemental burst, it looks like he sends a shockwave of Geo damage after, doing the can swiping animation. It looks pretty clean. Looks faster than Zhongli's elemental burst for sure. On the live stream, they mentioned that when he uses his elemental burst, it actually synergizes with his elemental skill that causes that flower to trigger violently, so doing more continuous geo damage to the enemy. So this is actually his kit sounds pretty good. He doesn't seem to have any defensive geo tactics like the support of Zhongli, other than Geo still creating crystals from their elemental reaction. So we'll have to see how his multipliers go and see how much that Geo damage ticks, but it seems like this guy is here to do some serious Geo damage. Another thing I'm curious about is that most of the Geo characters that we have right now are usually the characters that just do burst damage and then they do the elemental reaction and then that causes the crystals to fall. I wonder if Albedo is somebody that can actually set up Geo damage as he ticks them, use his skills, swap out, and his skills are still going to, his flowers basically still in the field, allowing another character to trigger that reaction. So you don't have to build elemental mastery on him, and another character that has more elemental mastery can trigger that, crystallize, to make the shield stronger. So we just have to see. His elemental skill and his ultimate burst, they seem like they synergize pretty well together, and you actually want to pop the E into the Q. Next character on the list we have Ganyu. So she's a cryo unit and also a bow user. Wow. She looks so amazing now that you actually get to see her in action. Wow. So it looks like her banner will be coming after Albedo. So sometime in mid-January 2021. Right off the bat, her charge attack is pretty unique. Bow users are known to be able to charge their attack, but it looks like Ganyu has two charges. So when she shoots it out, it looks like she's raining down some ice particles onto the enemy instead of just like a focused uh, charge shot. So we'll have to see how strong that charge shot is, but that is also pretty unique that you can hold it. As far as their E skills, the trailer doesn't really show her E skill clearly, but mentioned on the live stream, they mentioned that it's a flower that she throws on the ground like Albedo, and that cryo flower will basically attract and taunt the enemies towards it, and then explodes after a certain amount of time. They didn't mention anything about taking damage and then it explodes, something like Amber or Mona's elemental skill does. After they take a certain amount of damage, they explode, but they still taunt. But they only mentioned on the stream that after a certain amount of time, it explodes and it taunts, applying cryo. So this is pretty interesting, given that we are going to have another element that can taunt the enemies towards it, creating a big AoE damage like Amber and Mona. Apparently, not a lot of people play Amber, and not a lot of people have Mona. But again, Ganyu is going to be added to the game that can apply that same mechanic to the game. So in that situation, again, I would like to use her E skill on something on Abyss Spiral 12, Chamber 2, where you have to protect that platform and make sure it doesn't take enough damage to fall under a certain amount. If it does, then you kind of lose all your stars. So given that Abyss 12 you do want to bring a Cryo Unit 2 for Chamber 3, I think Ganyu is going to set up that perfectly nice, and as well as help you get a better clear time on Chamber 2. Moving on to her elemental burst skills, other than the beautiful animation where she slowly summons the ice orb onto the field, you can see that when she summons it, it stays onto the field. And look at how big that radius is when she summons it. And it's continuously raining down cryo icicles onto the enemy. One can only imagine how much it's going to tick and how long it's going to last onto the field, given how big the AoE is. She's able to be played as a main DPS doing charge shot damage or throw down her abilities and it gets swapped out. So just hearing and seeing Ganyu's kit right now, I think she's going to be crazy. Like, she's going to be raining down constant cryo application. She has a taunt that draws the enemy into a big setup. I think Ganyu's going to be crazy. Like, I need a better cryo unit. Like, I'm sorry, Kea, but I think you're going to get benched. Just seeing her kit now, the way how she can be played, I think I'm sold. I think I might actually have to pull for her. I think I would prefer to have her on my team over Kea at this point. Yeah, guys, I'm sold on Ganyu. Alright, so I don't want to get too hyped up for Ganyu. So we'll also be able to play through their story quests as soon as the patch 1.2 version drops. So that basically gives me over a month right now to prep for her. I just need to find her a better bow. So hopefully when she comes out, there's going to be a good weapon banner with her. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm going to skip on Albedo. He looks awesome. But I don't need a Geo unit in my setup right now. I don't have any plans and I can't see how I want to set him up. I think right now, again, I like the electro reactions and, the vaporize melt meta right now is still pretty strong, given that Abyss 12 is currently the only endgame and resources is just tight overall that I just can't throw it prematurely onto these new characters and build them. But Ganyu, for sure, I see her fitting into my team setup. So I will be pulling for Ganyu. Albedo, I'm sorry, but I don't have any purposes of using a Geo unit at the moment. Another thing I'm super excited about for patch 1.2 version is that we're gonna have this Chalk Prince and the Dragon event again. So just looking at it right away, you can see that it's very similar to Fishow's Shooting Star Meteorite event, where you can get that gold crown. So it seems like this gold crown is used for like talent level 13 and up, which is going to be pretty crucial given that the only way to get this right now are from these events. So these events will bring you some pretty insane amount of resources and materials that you can buy pretty cheap if you are able to spend resin onto these events, like the shooting star event. So I'm super excited that I could definitely use more experience book. Those are always super hard to come by, and as well as more Mora. Another super awesome thing is we're finally getting the Cryo set and the Hydro set. Like, just looking at this Hydro set, you know that set's for freaking Child. But who cares about Child, right? The main point is DPS Barbara is coming. Remember that. DPS Barbara is now going to be an official thing with this Hydro set. She's going to set new records. The only thing that I would like to add to this whole expansion is that hopefully they allow us to put more than 99 pins on this map. Like, 99 pins wasn't even enough for Mondstadt and Liyue. So I don't know how we're gonna be able to fill up all the spots with pins, with just all the map with just 99 pins. So again, super excited with everything that's gonna happen. It sounds pretty overwhelming now that I think about it, but one step at a time. New events. Safer Ganyu. Please give me more pins to put down on the map. There's a other bunch of stuffs and details from this live stream, but again, if you want to know more details, the link will be down in the description, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want to. But again, those are pretty much the ones that I'm mostly excited about, as well as, again, after this patch 1.2 version, any character that you level from 20, 40, and 70, you will basically get one Acquainted Fate for it. So, and then when you redeem your Acquainted Fates from them, just so you know that those can only be used on the normal banner. So you cannot use those on the limited weapon banner or the limited character banner. So unfortunately, but yeah, so just plan ahead. There's only 3 of them that you can get per character. at levels 20, 40, and 70. So it looks like this is going to be a permanent feature added to the game, not a limited time that, oh, within 2 months of patch 1.2 to level all these characters to at least 70 to be able to redeem the max amount of Acquainted Fate. No, I believe this is going to be a permanent feature added to the game. I just want one copy of Ganyu. I don't care about constellations on her. I think from my standpoint, just having the character alone is already enough than not having it, given that they are limited and we don't know if they're going to go into the universal pool in the standard banner. So plan ahead now that we know what's going to come in version 1.2. Plan ahead, Pharma books, Pharma moras, Pharma character ascensions, as well as get those artifact fodders ready, because when you farm that new artifact, you're going to get the piece you want, but you also need artifact fodders and more for it. So plan ahead, get those weapon ores ready, get ready to do all the events, as well as finish your storyline so you can experience Dragon Spine along with everybody that's ready to jump in there. So that concludes my impressions of the changes that are coming in version 1.2. Super excited. I hope you are as well too. Remember to subscribe to the channel and press that like button if you enjoyed. Till then, I'm Mugen. That's all that I have for you now. Peace. Good luck.